How to break free from diet culture rules. If you've been stuck in the diet culture mentality for a while, you probably have a bunch of rules that you have in your head. Things like no eating carbs because they make you fat, or stop eating after 6 p.m. because it'll make you fat, or always choose the salad over the fries because that's the healthy option. And if you're trying to come out of this diet culture mindset, you need to work on letting go of these rules, and this is what this video is here to help you do. Number one, listen to your body instead of diet culture. Our bodies are very capable of telling us what they need and what they don't need. It's just that we have grown unable to listen to them because of diet culture putting all these like interfering messages in our head. It's really important that you stop turning to what other people are telling you to eat, what diet culture is telling you to eat, or like all these outside signals to tell you how to eat, and that you instead turn into your own internal body signals, your hunger fullness cues, your cravings, what you're wanting to eat, what will satisfy you, what will make you feel good. Just listening to your body in general. It's very important that you learn what really works for you, and that you learn to listen to what your body is specifically telling you, instead of trying to copy somebody else's way of doing things, because we are all different. We all have different body types. We all have different like pasts with food and like relationships with food and like allergies and preferences and everything. And like genetic is also a big component of everything. So even if you eat exactly the same as somebody, it's not necessarily going to work or like look the same on you. You can start with like the baseline of healthy eating that works for like a great majority of people, and I made a video about how to eat healthy for beginners if you want to watch it right here or in the description. And then you can tweak from that, learn what works for you, what doesn't, what you need to add in order for it to be like more pleasurable for you, more sustainable for you, meet your needs better, all of that. But it really needs to be based off of you and your own needs, not everybody else, not diet culture, not your mom, you. Also, if you want to learn more about how to listen to your body's hunger and fullness cues and to be more in tune with it, I have a playlist on how to eat mindfully and intuitively. Again, you can check it out here or in the description. Number two, stop calorie counting. You need to see calories for just what they are, which is units of energy. That's literally it. I mean, sure, they can provide some insight into what you are eating and like how much you're eating and all of that, but it is still very limited. Like if you're looking purely at calories and then one option is an avocado and the other is a chocolate chip cookie, and the avocado actually has like more calories, but that doesn't mean that it's not as good for you as the cookie. Actually, it's going to have way more nutrients than the cookie. If you're solely focusing on calories, you're going to make choices just based off of numbers, and you're not going to be taking into account so many other things like nutritional profile and also like enjoyment, satisfaction, all of that. So you need to focus on the quality of the food that you're eating rather than on the quantity. And in terms of portion sizes, it shouldn't be about calories and like numbers. It should be about finding the portion size that satisfies your own individual needs. And if you want to learn how to do that, I have a video on finding the right portion sizes. You can check it out here or in the description. Another very important point is you need to ditch the cheat day mentality. The term cheat, first of all, implies that there's like a set of rules that you're breaking, and so that's already like setting you up for failure. You don't need that kind of like negative thinking in your life, which would be that you are eating like the right way the entire week, and then when the weekend comes or like your cheat day comes, whatever, you're cheating and you're doing something bad. This will fuel the like feelings of guilt and shame around foods that we do not want either. So not good. If you're labeling certain days where you eat like whatever you want as cheat days, then you are just like setting yourself up for a cycle of failure, because you're basically going to be hating the way that you're eating through the entire week, and you're basically just going to be living for these cheat day moments. And then when they do happen, even if there's like foods you don't necessarily want, you're just going to be like, okay, I need to make the most of it, the most of this opportunity. I need to just like gorge myself with all these foods. And this is just this like unhealthy cycle that shows you that healthy eating is not fun or like enjoyable to do. And so in order to sustain it, you need to have these days where you eat whatever you want. But that's not true. Healthy eating can be delicious, and it should be, because it should be a balance of foods that you really like as well as foods that are really healthy, and just also include treats that are not necessarily healthy but that also like fuel your soul, fuel your cravings, your emotional hunger, all of that. So healthy eating encompasses all of these things, and you don't need to be going on cheat days. You really need to stop with that mentality. So instead of having the entire week where you eat salads and then like have a ton of junk food on one day, make sure that you are having like balanced meals every day and that you are incorporating little treats every day as well. It's also really important that you stop viewing foods as good or bad. Our mindset around food will really influence our food choices, and if you're constantly telling yourself that this food is bad, then when you do have that food, you're going to feel guilty for having it, and then you're going to start restricting that food even more so that you don't feel that guilt. But then that restriction is going to cause you to crave it even more, because we crave what we can't have, and so you're going to feel even more guilt, and you're going to feel shame for eating this food when you know that it's bad. Instead, you need to start realizing that there is room for all types of foods in your diet, and that food, it exists on a spectrum. There's not like one good food or one bad food. It really also depends on the entire situation. Each food will offer you something valuable, and yes, even cookies, because cookies will fuel your soul and also will satisfy certain emotional cravings that kale salads could never satisfy. And also, kale salads will satisfy certain nutrient requirements that cookies would not. So you need a balance of both, and you need to stop assigning like moral value to foods that you're eating. Like, all of them have room to exist on the food spectrum and on your plate. Number 5, you also need to start celebrating eating as a social act. Eating is not just about fueling your body with energy. It's also about cultural and like social aspects, and people like all over the world will come together and eat a meal, share it with loved ones, and just like bond over that. If you're like obsessing over your diet, then you are likely to kind of distance yourself from these social moments where people will like eat together, because you're afraid of not being in control and of not eating the things that you have deemed as healthy and that you think are right, and you're afraid of overeating. You're afraid of people judging you for your food choices, and it's so sad because you're really going to like disconnect yourself from that, and you're going to miss out on this entire experience. And eating as something social will also fulfill you much more than if you're just like eating all alone, and you can actually end up eating less food because it's going to take you less to feel satisfied when you're engaging with others and fueling your like satisfaction from other things than just the food. Remember that if eating was just about having the perfect amount of like nutrients and balance and like healthiness in what you're eating, then we could just thrive off of having IVs in our arms with like the perfect amount of nutrients, and that's not the case. We would be miserable if it was like that. Prioritize health over aesthetics. We have pretty narrow beauty standards within like current society, and for a lot of places, a lot of people, the beauty standard is to be thin, and the problem with that is that people will do anything to achieve this thinness, even if it means putting their health in danger. If you're striving for thinness, then yes, going on fad diets will get you to that point for a time. Going on like water fasts will get you to that point for a time, but at what price? First of all, because you're really going to damage your health in the process, and also you're actually going to gain all that weight back and more, because it's not natural to lose weight in these ways. And so the second you stop, or the second you like let your guard down a tiny bit, everything is going to come crashing down. You're going to starve. You're going to get all these like crazy cravings. You're going to feel extreme hunger and not be able to stop eating, and you're going to gain all that weight back and a little more because you are going to have like slowed down your metabolism. So stop having weight loss as your main goal and start to have health as your main goal. And that's when you are going to make choices that are going to be oriented towards making you like the best, healthiest version of you possible, which will in turn lead to weight loss, but only as a side effect. And I feel like that's truly the key. If you're not hyper focusing on the weight loss, if you're just focusing on the health, then the weight loss will naturally happen. But if you do the opposite, then you'll have neither the health nor the weight loss, nor the sustainable weight loss at least. Number 7, and this is a very important one that I tell all of my clients, you need to celebrate non-scale, non-weight related victories. Instead of fixating on the number of the scale, which in fact you should just like throw your scale out, you don't need it, you can focus on other things that show you that you are on the right path. Some of these things can be related to your physical appearance, but it shouldn't be weight. It can be how you feel in terms of like feeling less bloated, or feeling like your clothes are fitting you better, or you feel more comfortable in like doing certain things, moving your body certain ways. Like it's maybe easier for you to like tie your shoes, or easier for you to like run to the grocery store real quick. So things like that. And then also things that have like no relation to the physical aspect at all. Like maybe you have more energy, maybe your sleep is better and your mood is better, and you're not constantly thinking about food and constantly obsessed with food. Maybe you're finally able to tell which foods you like, which foods you don't like, and you're able to keep chocolate in your house without binging on it and finishing the entire thing. Maybe you're finally able to stop eating when you're full and not go past that fullness to something uncomfortable. And maybe you're also able to have a smoothie and truly enjoy it for what it is and actually crave it instead of punishing yourself with it instead of having the cookie because you know it's healthier. I mean, there's so many different victories that you can have, and they are all way more important than the number on the scale. So make sure that you tune into these and you look out for these to show that you are making progress in this journey of getting rid of your diet culture rules. And doing this can really help with the previous point as well, which is like to shift your focus off your weight and onto physical health, because if you're not constantly monitoring your progress by looking at your weight, then suddenly there's a whole world of other things that you can look at to track your progress, and the shift will be off the weight and onto all these great victories. And finally, number 8, you really need to stop surrounding yourself with diet culture. Sadly, diet culture is ingrained in society, and it's very, very hard not to come across it, but you really need to make this like active effort not to surround yourself with diet culture any more than you kind of need to. So for instance, on social media, make sure that you're not actively following accounts that are going to be pushing like diet culture ideas down your throat. Make sure that you instead are following people that inspire you to be healthy in a way that is respectful of your body and your needs. And then if people around you make comments on your weight, your body, the way you eat, or whatever, then it's totally fine to correct them. You can do it gently, and then to have a little conversation with them about how you don't want to have like these conversations, that they are damaging, and that it would be good for them if they educated themselves on the harmful diet culture messaging that they are spreading as well. That's it for this video. I really hope that it was helpful, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.